Hey everybody, thanks for being here. Today we're in Northern California at Clear Lake for crappie and largemouth bass. And then we're going to learn about the Geary Salmon and Steelhead project. Now if you want to learn how to catch more fish, stay tuned. I'm Justin Wolff, and this is Angler West Television. Clear Lake, California is famous for its big largemouth bass, but it's also a fantastic crappie fishery. Today we're with Todd Storm and Joshua Giordano, hoping to load up with crappie and then go after the bass. We've started off with some quick bites, but not quite what we're after.
We're trying for crappie, but we keep on catching these little baby bass. We're using these Spro bucktail jigs for crappie, but we're catching a lot of small bass right now. We're fishing on these pilings here. You can see this one that extends all the way out this dock. And a lot of crappie around here moving in to spawn. Later on in the afternoon, we're going to go after the bass. They should move up. It's pretty early in the morning right now, so we're going to try for crappie first thing, and then go for bass later.
Today I'm using the Lamaglass Infinity ISS. It's the 9.8JS, 9.8 foot. So a 6 to 15 pound. Really nice light tip. I use it for steelhead, but I love it for crappie as well. With the bobber, it's just got a lot of play in it. Great for these smaller fish and really fun as well. There we go. Little bass again.
Another bass?
Well, the bass are definitely on this bro.
Looks like that was a pretty good spawn last year. They're all about the same size, huh?
Good job. Target species. There it is.
There we go.
Nice fish. Good job.
Nice little crappie. So we found the school of crappie. Clear Lake is just probably one of the premier lakes for crappie in Northern California. You can catch them just about every cast, but these are half pounders. A lot of fun.
A lot of people when bobber fishing, they think that bobber needs to go all the way under when you get a bite. But a lot of times the fish are going to swim up with it, so all you'll see is a real little movement on the bobber. So a lot of times just lift up and see if anything's there. A lot of times you'll catch that fish. So set the hook when you see a little movement, something different. Oh, like that. Oh, like that. So earlier, we're fishing the sun side. We were getting a lot of bites over on the sun. As the sun got higher, we moved over into the shade line off this dock, and seems to be where we found the school. We moved over into the shade. Just a little twitch on that bobber. Didn't even, well, of course, the bass. They sure do love that, though, don't they? These Spros, those fish like to get them all tangled up. The neat thing about them is you just give them a little bit of work and you get them right back into shape. Double.
Oh, getting a little bit bigger.
There we go.
Oh. I think we gained a quarter pound on these ones. Yeah, finally. There we go. So crappie.
Nice. Doubles.
Come on over here, you guys. I think
They moved in the shade.
They moved in the shade on the side.
Twitch it. Oh, see, it didn't move very much. They still do like it. Game on. I think he wanted that.
Go to anglerwesttv.com right now and save money and get a bottle each of the original and Bloody Tuna Scent Chamber Magic. Ideal for filling the Oregon Tackle scent chambers or any lure that holds scent. Also, if you're hunting trophy trout, the Max Lure flashlight attractors are perfect to pull in front of plugs or in tandem with the Double D Dodgers. And now's the time to stock up on Brad Super Baits and Cut Plug Super Baits and start catching more fish. Also, stop polluting the water and yourself with toxic soap. Use Fisherman's Eco Soap instead. Order now at anglerwesttv.com. Chinook and coho on the menu? Then put Oregon Tackle to work like the Salmon Sniper Spinners with built-in scent chambers. Available in a 2-hook mooching rig or with treble hooks. Or go with a deadly switchblade spinner. Of course, these fish great behind the Oregon Tackle School of Fish. If you're using spreaders, then why not use Oregon Tackle spreaders with built-in scent chambers? Just fill with any Procure oil or Angler West Scent Chamber Magic. Also available in a plunking style with a rotating arm. Look for Oregon Tackle products in stores now. Maximize your float fishing game with the new technologically advanced Pro Drift floats by Fishfield, available in 11 sizes from 1/8 to 5 ounces with EVA foam construction, durable braid-ready inserts, and color options to match the conditions. And they're the only float with a glow stick insert for low light conditions. And prepare to load the boat with the lifelike Fishfield Pacific Chovy heads with a versatile double ring and bait keeper system. Available in 6 colors from 1 to 3 ounces. These are ideal for tuna and other saltwater species. Find the best prices today in Tigard or online. Welcome back to Clear Lake. I'm Justin Wolff. It's a beautiful spring morning, and we just located a good school of crappie that are willing biters on a fat fly jig fished under a Fishfield bobber, with the bobber being a key to success.
Yeah, I don't do too much bobber fishing. Josh has been bobber fishing for steelhead up in the Feather, and so he's brought these Fishfield bobbers down here to Clear Lake, and we're using them for crappie now, and it's kind of fun actually. What it does is it suspends that bait right in front of them. So they just look at it. I was throwing a jig without a bobber and I wasn't getting bit at all. As soon as I put a bobber on, we're suspending right in the school and they just keep on hammering it. So it's a lot of fun actually. It just puts that bait right in the middle of that school of crappie.
I like to do, when I cast these out, I'm gonna let them settle down onto the bobber, let that jig settle. When it settles down, I'll let it settle. Every so often you want to just give that a little twitch, and that jig makes it look alive. Real little twitches, almost trying to keep the bobber in the same spot. Makes a huge difference on getting a reaction bite out of these fish, where a lot of times I'll sit and watch it. As soon as you twitch it, triggers that strike. Really effective way to fish the bobbers.
Oh, this one. He's half black, half...
Wow, that's a really neat one.
Look at that one right there.
That's a rare one. That's neat.
So look at this one. He's kind of a black and white crappie put together. Man, never caught one like that before.
So when I'm setting up these Fishfield bobbers, I always start bobber stop. There's a lot on the market. It's how you want. It's what you want. I like thread, so it goes through the eyes very easy. I go down to a bead. That way, it doesn't slip through the bobber. I like an egg sinker. People do inline. I prefer an egg sinker. You can adjust. I have a 1/4 ounce on the 1/2 ounce bobber. Then I go to about a 3.5, 4 foot leader. What that does is gives it time to settle away from the fish. They're not having a weight in their face. Keeps the bobber nice in place. You can really work it well. And then I like using a really long rod, especially the Infinity ISS. Makes a great rod. Really nice for these fish. Long rod, you can make good cast, real easy, really light presentation.
So we ran up north here to just outside of Rodman Slough. What we're looking for is these fish transitioning into Rodman Slough, so they should be out. That's to the island right here. Usually stack up on that. Inside here we have some bays. We got a lot of birds. Looks like there's a lot of bait in here right now. We've been casting the Uruku shad here from Spro. This one I really like. It really looks like the Sacramento perch. It's got a little chartreuse and notice the bars on it. Really emulates Sacramento perch really well. So we're gonna try that out, see if it works. Kind of excited about this bait. So the reason why we're using this Uruku shad is we're just covering a lot of water. We're trying to find a little hump or a little grass spot, something a little bit different, high spot, where the fish moved up to. another month or so, they'll spread out, they'll get in the tulies, start making beds. But right now they're going to be offshore a little bit, feeding up before they go in shallow right now. The water's still a little cold, but hopefully we can find a school of them here pretty quickly with the Uruku shad. It's a good search bait, and you can cover a lot of water, and that's what you need to do this time of year. So what you want to do this time of year on these vibrating baits is, it's called a yo-yo. You just bring it up, let it fall, bring it up, let it fall. Feel some weeds down there, rip it out. You're looking for your reaction bite. There's some weeds right there. And there's a fish. Good job. I have a little one. But see, he just came out of those weeds and grabbed that bait. Got some little males in here. Hopefully we'll find some females. Let's try that again though. There's a nice little weed patch right there, and he was right sitting in those weeds. This rod I'm using is an Infinity Twitch. It's a long rod, it's got a nice tip to it. It's perfect for this technique. You want a lot of tip on these rods. You don't want a stiff rod. There's another one. Oh yeah. Man, a lot of little guys in there. But yeah, they're liking that the Uruku perch. Man, that was a nice bait. I saw that online, and it really matches up well with the Sacramento perch in here. I mean, it's almost perfect. They're having a problem with the hitch right now. The hitch are really struggling for some reason up here. They haven't figured out why yet, but these bass are going to start eating more, the perch, the shad, because their normal diet's the hitch, a little bit larger fish. Man, there's just a bunch of them right there. Little guys, so.
Well, I was having lunch. Let Todd thin out all these smaller ones for me. See if I can get in on here with him. He's on again.
It's so fun.
Oh.
This year, catch more trout and kokanee with the Max Lure Double D Dodger, whether using a Cha-Cha Squidder or Sonic Bait Fish, or any lure with a fish-attracting smile blade like the new Glow Burst.
Ideally, this trolls at 1.5 miles per hour. Has a knife edge front, has a nice cupped rear portion to it. That whale tail, as it's bent, causes it to kick and causes it to rock back and forth. Okay? No tuning required. This will work right out of the box.
Stop guessing about curing roe and start catching more fish with ProCure's Liquid Egg Cure, the no-hassle, fail-safe way to get perfect eggs every time. The process is simple. Just butterfly your skeins, put them in a clean container, and cover with either Orange Glow, Red Hot, or Hot Pink, and cure for several hours with no risk of ruining your eggs. There's no simpler way to cure great eggs. See the Liquid Cure instructional video with Steve Lynch of ProCure at anglerwesttv.com. Then start catching more fish. The all-time greatest line cutter is the Boomerang Tool Company Snip. I've been using these for years and I just love them. This is P-Line TCB 80-pound braid. No problem whatsoever, no frayed ends, it's perfect every time. And now at anglerwesttv.com, you can get the same great snip with the Angler West TV logo. I just love these things. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. Welcome back to Clear Lake. I'm Justin Wolff. We're on Clear Lake with Todd Storm and Joshua Giordano, and we found a good bunch of small bass, but the big mamas are still eluding us.
Man, there's just a bunch of them right there.
Well, I was having lunch. Let Todd thin out all these smaller ones for me. See if I can get in on here with him. He's on again.
It's so fun.
Oh.
So the way this Uruku is designed, when you cast it out and let it fall, it just sits. It doesn't fall to the sides, it just sits down like that. So really the fish think it's real, and then you pop it up out of those weeds and they just hammer this thing.
They're hitting it a lot though on every cast there. Well, I'm out casting the Oregon Tackle School of Fish. Got a little swim bait attached to it. Got the little male off the toolies here. Todd's hunting for the big female, but kind of just imitating the school of fish going through. It's starting to bite good. This is the original school of fish. This head's a little over an ounce, and then I have about a 3/4 head. But seems to be running real well. It's about 6 feet, running 6 to 12 feet, and fish are biting it. Keep going, see if we can find that big fish. With that 1.5 ounce head, as you can see, there's no problem with those blades flying through the air. It just doesn't get tangled. You put a little, oh, there's a little bump right there. Okay. Got one of those ones that were boiling off the bait over there. Kind of nice. You can see. We're hunting the schools right now. A lot of times you'll get a school fish like this, anywhere from 18 inches down to 13. And a lot of the schools in here are going anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds. So you just got to find the right one.
Oh, he came off. That was a good one there.
Yeah,
There's one.
Another one on the top water there. Bunch of mini-me's, huh? That's all they are.
I think we're in Shasta.
Yeah. We took that bobber and spro. Look at that. Pitched out the bobber and that spro. The little fat flies. And there you go. Nice. Todd was throwing up in the brush up here. We saw a bunch of little bait jump. So what we decided to do is throw the bobber, put on the little fly. It was the same thing we're fishing for these crappie. So it's just really matching the hatch. And as you can see, we kind of found them, but thought we'd try it again and ended up with a really nice fish. Match the hatch. This one's the chartreuse fat flies by Spro. That's a 1/8 ounce. See all those bait jump in there?
Yeah, I'll get him jump.
Yeah. Just twitching that fly in there real soft. Real gently.
The Clackcraft Magnum Power Drifter is designed to give you ultimate access to our thousands of miles of rivers, no matter how low the flows. For power, only the best will do. That's why Clackcraft chooses the reliable Tohatsu TLDI Series 35-horse jets, which use the power of a 50-horsepower TLDI to deliver a true 35 horses to the pump, with excellent fuel economy and an unmatched horsepower-to-weight ratio, so you can make those long runs through skinny water to find the fish. Bobber fishing is becoming more and more popular for salmon and steelhead, and I want to show you something that's going to help you catch more fish. Lots of people like to tie in a swivel underneath their bobber, which is great, but a metal swivel is going to sink and cause drag on your lure, which is not what you want when you're trying to achieve a subtle, lifelike presentation. Instead, use an Invisiswivel. Invisiswivels are made of fluorocarbon, they're invisible to the fish, and they're neutral buoyant, which means they will drift freely with your lure and not cause any unwanted drag. Learn more at aquatico.com and find them at your local retailer. Angler West TV is brought to you in part by Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger, keep ice longer. Within the Sacramento Valley, you see mile after mile of fertile farmland, once a great floodplain before the rivers were confined and controlled. Where we now have rice fields, there used to be seasonal marshlands important to the entire ecosystem. Todd Storm has brought us to the Yolo Bypass near Davis, California, where researchers are working to understand how these areas can be managed to enhance our salmon and steelhead populations.
The Central Valley used to be a vast wetland and a marsh that flooded up every year when the winter rains came and the snow melted, and we'd have thousands and thousands of acres of floodplain. with the development of the water system in California, we levied the rivers, and essentially we keep the rivers in the levees now. And one of the things that we're finding is that when you spread that water out, is that you create an environment that allows sunlight to hit the water. And when sunlight hits the water, you have algae growth, and that algae feeds zooplankton, and that zooplankton is what is the fish food. And so what we're doing here is we're trying to use these agricultural lands, the rice fields in particular, as a surrogate for wetlands in the Central Valley. And the fish that are being placed out on these rice fields are growing at about twice the length and about 6 times the mass than fish in the adjacent river habitats. And really, one of the things that we want to do is we want to have big salmon go into the ocean, because the bigger a fish is when it goes to the ocean, the higher the likelihood of it returning as an adult. And it's these types of conditions that are natural conditions and natural habitats that create the opportunity for those fish to come back as adults. And how can we maximize and optimize the number of fish and the size of the fish that we get out of here? And so to do that, to understand that, we're draining a field a week to understand both the growth and the mortality and the survival of the different fish. So these fish, when they came out here, were a little over an inch long, and you can see right now how big and healthy they look. They're starting to smolt up, and they're getting ready to go to the ocean. And so what we'll do today is we'll just count these fish, and then we'll send them on their way out to the Pacific Ocean to hopefully return in 3 years as big, fat, catchable fish for everybody.
These fish are doubling their weight just about every week. The growth rates we see in these fields are just phenomenal, and that's because there's so much food made out on the floodplain. The floodplain is a bug buffet for these fish, whereas in the river itself, where the water is swift, cold, and there's not very much food, it's like they're on like an exercise bike, the whole time. No food, they're skinny, they never get strong enough to get moving. Out here, they have the intake. They're getting enough nutrients to pack their lunch, to get big, robust, and to have the fuel in the tank to make it to the ocean, to succeed in the ocean, to come back as adults.
So these fish are now heading out of this canal and heading down to the river, and they'll ultimately end up in the Pacific Ocean. And some of our research has shown that they'll hit the Golden Gate Bridge from up here north of Sacramento in as little as 8 days.
So call me crazy, but we think that fish have to eat, and the food that's made out here on the floodplains is really a direct function of solar energy. So just like food for people happens when sunlight hits an agricultural crop out here on these floodplain fields, food for fish happens when sunlight is turned into food energy by photosynthesis. That either happens in the summer when plants out here on the floodplain grow up, and then in winter when the water spreads out, those plants get broken down by bacteria and other things, get turned into bug food, basically. Or it happens when you spread the water out. When you take a river that is leveed, if my fingers are the levees, right? There's a lot of water there, high volume, but very little surface area up there for the sunlight to come in and to be turned into carbohydrates, into sugar by algae floating near the top, right? But when you spread that water out onto the floodplain, you have a much larger solar collector. And this is what I'm going to demonstrate. This is the supply ditch. This is the same water that over here is in this field, right? But when I take a simple aquarium net that you get at the pet store, and I put it into this water and on this side, you'll see, and maybe I'll just do it right here in my hand. If you can get in there, there's a couple bugs in there. It's actually a pretty rich environment. Well, not too many, 1 or 2, right? But the truth is that that's pretty fertile water. If you put it on the other side, same exact water come through that pipe from the supply ditch out here to the field, but it's spread out and slowed down. Same net, empty, no cards up my sleeve. And Carson, if you'll help me just dip that into my hands here. And you'll see that. Those bugs, those are floating fillet. This is the perfect forage for small fish. Fish swim through these fields with their eyes closed and their mouth open, getting strong, getting big, getting fat, packing their lunch for their journey to sea. This simple food web that starts with sunlight being converted to sugar by algae floating near the surface of the water is the key to creating a Central Valley that can support self-sustaining runs of salmon and that can really lead to water security for the state of California. People always ask, well, what's in it for the farmer? Our farm partners are dedicated to what we're doing. They understand that what's good for farming is good for the environment and vice versa, that fish abundance means water security for them and for the rice industry, and it's also a great value add for their products. Rice here, grown on the Nags Ranch. This is an heirloom Japanese rice, really high quality, and this is the first salmon-friendly rice to be grown in the world, and that's worth something for this brand.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. You know, without the support of the sponsors, the show would not be possible. So please thank them when you can. Now get out there and do some great fishing.